Yo guys, what is up? I got this really cool interview that Mark Lamia and some Treyarch guys did with Game Trailers TV. So check it out. It's a little long, but if you're interested in zombies, there's some pretty good information in there, and they kind of talk about the behind the scenes on how they decided to make zombies. Anyway, check it out guys. I'll see you guys in the next video on Monday. Later.
Get back to hair and makeup. You don't look dead enough.
Hey guys, the bonus round is back here inside Treyarch because we go behind the design of Black Ops 2 with Mark, Dan, and Jimmy. And now we are going to talk about zombies. Mark, let's set this up first of all, because I mean, zombies has become really a staple of Treyarch games here back for over the past. I guess this will be the third game with it, right? Mm-hmm. You knew something special was happening with zombies, but for this game, I mean, from day one, did you guys know that you wanted to be this ambitious with the zombies mode?
Yeah, across the board, each of the teams, I think, had really, they were just really creatively ambitious. I think, we had set out to achieve what we wanted in the campaign and the multiplayer and the zombies of our previous games, and, much like the fans want something new, us as creatives, we wanted to create something new. Now, the team occasionally has a lot of ideas about how expansive they want to be, and I think the Zombies team is a great example of when I heard, they wanted to create this massive world and just exponentially, grow this thing into other directions. I thought, give them the rope to prototype it. No. Give them the rope to prototype it, and we can manage this if they can't. But if they can, how awesome would that be? And so they did.
Yeah, I mean, like Dan was saying about multiplayer, we kind of look at it and we've played it so long. We know our the fans of zombies have actually played it for so long that we want to always try to push that, and we also want to excite ourselves about what we're doing. That to us, we look at the original gameplay. We know the kind of essence that zombies needs. We know what it needs fundamentally to maintain the gameplay. So then we look at ways we can break that but maintain the feel. Right. And then the first thing we thought of was, well, zombies is always about tight corridors and confinement and blocked in and trapped. And so we thought, well, let's literally reverse the model and say, you're going to be outside and in bigger environments, and you find places to go in and explore. And so a lot of the original stuff we bring with us, but we just flipped the entire model and tried to see it from a different perspective.
All right. So when you were starting with zombies, I mean, did you have a design document? I mean, what was the original idea when you went in and pitched Mark and said, okay guys, what do you want to do for zombies? I mean, what did you say to them?
I went away to my office, closed the door, and opened the door and said, anybody please help. And we started, just collecting ideas from everywhere. I mean, Zombies, again, is really tightly tied to our community, and just looking at what they've done, things we've wanted them to do, things we're like, oh my God, we didn't know they could do that. And what they're having fun doing, and again, the team, and all just putting these ideas down and coming up with kind of a plan. The plan
so what was that original pitch?
The original pitch was we wanted to do an epic sized map, something bigger than we've ever done, something that challenges
an open world almost?
Open world-ish, and really challenges the core gameplay. But then we also realized that people didn't always want to spend 2, 3, 4 hours playing zombies. They wanted to jump in and get that experience. So we thought, let's do smaller bite-sized things. Let's do things that are contained and offer them the ability to jump quickly in, get some zombie killing, and then run to work. And then tell their friends about what they did, causing them to want to leave work and go beat their score.
And that's why you moved it obviously from, as we talked about, from the single player engine to the multiplayer engine. So that allowed you then to have multiple game types and modes.
Absolutely. Again, this is like as far as you jump in a traditional zombie map, you're looking at 4 players getting together and shooting zombies, and then we thought, well, wait a minute, what if they were competing with resources in an apocalypse with another group of four players? And that was very interesting to us, and that's what multiplayer, the engine, offered us. We could actually then put people in an environment that was hostile to both, but they both had to find a way to outlast the other and survive that. So
and that's now its own mode in this game. It's like you have this big open world transit, which you're trying to survive in with the 4 players and the 4 characters and the story and all that richness. But yet the team had prototyped and has honed in on sort of more traditional single area environments, and that's the survival modes that you can play with up to 1 and 4 players. But people have been asking for 8-player zombies, which they're getting. It's really 4z4. It's really humans versus zombies. It's just there's 2 teams of humans, and the last person on that team standing wins.
What about the idea of letting people play as the zombies?
I mean, that's something we've entertained from I think even the first map we made back in World at War.
Yeah.
And there's definitely, something there. We're always really excited about that idea. And, for us, it's always about making sure that there's that true experience, even if it's completely different, but it has the kind of the pace and the excitement and the tension that core zombies has.
Yeah.
So when we find that right tone and balance, that would be definitely
Did you
something we'd
prototype
go
that
after.
stuff? I mean, how far along did you get with that idea of letting people play as zombies?
Maybe we did, Jeff.
Okay.
Maybe we did.
Can we talk about that?
Let's say that we prototyped many different ways of playing
Right.
zombies, and fun, challenging. Some of it is gonna potentially see the light of day, and
Right.
some of it is going on this disc that is actually really good and solid gameplay that we're proud of. So
I mean, that's obviously, that's a radical idea, obviously, but it's like, you guys seems like you entertained a lot of radical ideas across, the idea of building out this map and, the bus and things like that. So that open world or that, that larger map, what drove that idea? Was it fiction, or why did you like to kind of create this larger idea?
it comes from, I mean, again, internally the team and things we want to attempt that challenge the idea of zombies. Just things that we throw out there and think, well, that just sounds ridiculous and fun, so let's try it.
Right, and then you're sitting in my chair, and they're like, so we're moving over to the multiplayer engine, and we're doing this massive map, and we're going to do modes, and there's going to be these, anyways, and it just goes on, and, it's like, okay, well, you have a development cycle with which we have to do this in, because you could just prototype forever. I think, while they're highly creative, I think having some focus has helped, and so they did. They have, meanwhile, they're, aggressively prototyping. Both of these teams here have been, just aggressively prototyping things along the way. And what you see in the product is a result of that. Yeah. And as I was talking to you about in campaign, a great example of that is the Strike Force levels. Aggressively prototyped and changed along the way.
In any kind of game like ours, like competitive multiplayer and zombies, it's a sandbox style gameplay experience, which is very different from a story campaign. Right. So I think that just by the nature of the experience that we're delivering, you have to prototype constantly. I mean, it's just, for us, it's always iteration and systems and making sure that there's good mechanics and core mechanics and then content.
And Zombies has had, a core kind of loop that I think everyone knows from obviously, opening doors and, buying things. I mean, was that always the loop? Do you ever think of reinventing that in Zombies?
No, I mean, so while we're prototyping all these kind of new ideas, we, at the same time, we're kind of developing the actual main experience that we knew would be, one, it would also be groundbreaking, but it would be very kind of familiar to the core audience, and that they would actually get something for sure that they're going to embrace and see as part and parcel with original gameplay and all the way back through World at War. Okay. And it was just a matter of trying to find that balance of, we have this, let's make sure that gets done, and then which one of the things that we're doing is going to be a complementary to that and a new, kind of face or facet to zombies in general, to the fans.
Now you guys, have a fiction tied to it. You've sort of seemed to have made a deliberate decision to not really talk a lot about, who these 4 characters are, what the world is, that type of stuff. What is driving that? Just that you want people to really experience it for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, it literally is we bounce back and forth with the community. It is it is us, it is them, it is things we hear them say or think that is in the game, and then we can spin those ideas back with them. We can put ideas out and just see how they react to them, and it's really actually kind of a relationship. We never really meet face to face necessarily, but we are watching what they're doing out there and listening to how they respond to the things that we put in there. So,
but you're obviously
doing script the entire time.
But you're obviously doing a lot of this in isolation. I mean, you can't really even talk about Zombies, when you're developing it, and it comes very late in the campaign. So you're just kind of feeding off what people said about Black Ops.
About Black Ops, about them kind of theorizing and projecting out where they think.
Wouldn't it be cool if we could do this or that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that last DLC pack with Resurrection and Moon ended with some events where people were like, so now what?
Yeah.
And there was a lot of theories that
I mean, we have them
that,
slam their fist down on a button that actually launches rockets and destroys Earth.
Yeah.
And so what do we do? Where do we play? And really what we wanted to do is leave them with this really epic kind of what they feel is kind of an apex or an ending potentially, and get them really wondering where this could actually go.
So fictionally, does this tie into sort of Resurrection?
Well, in
and
fact,
build
it
off
actually is their actions
Okay, yeah.
that have caused the world they're going to play in. So,
okay.
so there's really for us, we wanted to make sure that they, when
there's
they
that
get
link.
here, they realize, oh, we did this, you know,
Right.
and so it's actually honoring the fact that this is about them and about them kind of feeding into the game.
All right, well, thanks, guys. We'll be right back after this with more on Black Ops 2. Now, let's talk a bit about the zombies, because we've seen, you know, some of them in the trailers and stuff like that. How did you sort of rethink the moves of the zombies and their aggression and their abilities in this mode?
Yeah, I mean, this is where you take a map, you put a vehicle in it, you put huge open areas for people who are used to being trapped with zombies. We need to give not only the zombies new abilities, players new abilities to deal with that, but also just new enemy types, which we've done along the way. And in this one, you're going to find that you're going to have to earn some of the new areas, and some of the experience of the larger areas are definitely going to come at a risk or a cost. So yes, that's how we do it.
We got some surprise new zombies as we get through it, I guess.
Yep.
All right. Now, Dan, from your perspective, I mean, now that this is built on the multiplayer engine, are you guys, you know, sort of a tighter unit, because obviously the engine's changing and that's affecting zombies and vice versa? So, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
you sort of have to build together.
The teams sit right next to one another. I mean, it's, you know, we kind of have the online half of the building,
Right.
and we're all in the same area together. We talk. I wish I participated in more play tests, but we've done, you know, maybe every 3 or 4 weeks we've gone over and played zombies and given them feedback from our experiences with zombies. And I think you know, it's what they did is a very bold and, you know, it was a pretty risky venture, but you know, they pulled it off and it's really cool. I mean, it's like when you guys were talking about it at the beginning, I was like, you guys are crazy, you're nuts. And but you know, they did it.
That line was delivered, yeah.
But somehow you pulled through.
But they
Now,
pulled it off.
Was it always a bus?
Yeah, it actually was always a bus. And you know, there was a few different ways that we looked at how would we do it. And I guess when I say it's always a bus, it was always bus shaped. I mean, in the very early days, it was a box that we stood on. So, you know, but the idea was always some sort of, you know, transportation that could kind
And
of
a sense of progression,
take
I guess,
players
through
everywhere.
this world now, right? Where you sort of see, like in the trailer, we see sort of them, you know, moving between locations,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
I mean, the idea here is not to say, hey, guess what? Here's your map and here's the walls.
Yeah.
The idea is to say, you know, as far as you need to go or would want to go, to do the things you'd want to do and discover all the story elements and things that you can find that actually help your gameplay. And as far as like actually constructing things out of junk you find in the environment, you know, that doesn't happen in one map, because you can just run across the map in half a round and get that. We needed to give them multiple locations around, you know, a very expansive area. And then, you know, on foot, dangerous. A vehicle is going to be a little more protection. So we wanted to give them kind of choices of how to.
Until the
how to actually
zombies
approach
attack
that.
the bus, as we saw in the
But
trailer.
maybe there's
right?
some things out there that you need to get on foot that you could be rewarded for if you were brave
There's
enough.
definitely layers and choice of what you do and how you do it.
I found that when I play, it's like we kind of, you end up having to make these decisions. Do you want to get on the bus and go forward, or do you want to stick around and defend this area for a little bit longer, try to build up some points, buy more stuff, build more stuff?
Is there something here? Yeah.
But then, you know, so there's this decision point you have to make. Well, the bus is leaving. Do I get on the bus? You know, or do I stick around?
There's those trade-offs, I guess, and it's a new game every time you play.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to like making sure there's that core experience, but then, you know, as Mark, you've said earlier about, you know, choices and typical zombie gameplay, there's always choices and strategy. We've just opened that up to kind of more choices and more strategies and you know, kind of expanded that world.
A lot to this game across all the different dimensions. So, you know, the game obviously is coming out November 13th in just a couple of weeks now. When you guys think about sort of, you know, rolling it forward now, you know, DLC is an important part of it. Sounds like you guys have lots of ideas that, you know, for whatever reason, don't get into the game, or other maps that you want to put out. From a studio perspective, Mark, I mean, you know, the post-release plan is so important now for all these games. I mean, do you plan that out across kind of all the dimensions of the game now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we definitely, the planning is actually going on right now.
Yeah.
We actually, leading up to this point, while we know that we want to continue to create content once everybody gets a hold of this game, and hopefully we'll want to play more multiplayer and get some new experiences, or more zombies and get some new experiences. We stayed entirely focused on the ship. Of this game, knowing that on the other side we want to do that stuff, but we try to separate that is an ambition that we have. No, like literally, I think this has been the most this was a very complex game to pull off, and literally, I think we just really tried to stay focused on what we were doing until this thing was done. And the team, we ran it right up, and we put everything in, and it's literally. The final discs were bursting over in terms of content.
I mean, there's so much content you guys have been able to pull together.
Literally, data wasn't fitting on the disc. And so, anyways, so that's kind of what we're thinking about now is creating some content for players after launch.
You've obviously done that with zombies in the past and multiplayer. Do you think you'll ever bridge into sort of the single-player world, and now you have Strike Force and things like that, or giving people content in that world?
I think
it never happened before.
I think everything's on the table. The game is going to come out, and we'll see what the fans are. What makes sense with the game that we have, and what the fans are looking for, and that's what we want to make.
All right. Well, first of all, people get to play through the epic experience that is Black Ops 2 in just a couple of weeks, and it really is amazing how much you guys have accomplished across all these different dimensions of the game.
Thanks.
How many people are at Treyarch now working on this game?
Well, at Treyarch,
hundreds,
there's over 250 people here, but we have many talented contractors and developers who provide support on different things, and it's an amazing effort. The test teams that we have. Hundreds and hundreds of testers. And when I talk about, Jimmy added, these extra modes, and then by the way, he added custom game modes and zombies, which you didn't get a test about. It's like the amount of testing that goes on after the development of those things.
I don't know how you pull it all off. And now everyone's going to get the game disc, and they're going to have to decide which mode to play first. So, Mark, which one are you going to pick? What's your advice? Someone watching home,
I played them all so many times.
But seriously, what is the optimal? I mean, it's like because some people will jump right into MP, some will go to zombies, single player.
when I put in my Call of Duty disc, I play a little bit of campaign, and then I play a little bit of multiplayer, and I play a little bit of zombies. Actually, I don't actually stick with one. I actually play a little bit of everything on the first night. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll find you in all three modes then on day one, Mark Lamia.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, thanks so much for taking us through the development of Black Ops 2. Congratulations on wrapping it up. But, of course, you can play Black Ops 2 when it comes out on Tuesday, November 13th for Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. We'll see you next week for an all-new episode of The Bonus Round.
Ready for Black Ops 2? Be sure to watch Jeff Keighley and the team behind Black Ops 2 showcase the game's launch live as it happens from New York City. Tune in Monday, November 12th at midnight to watch GTTV Live, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 World Launch for insider access to the biggest game launch of the year.